Hi, we're the Fords, and this is By Grace We Live. We're so excited to be back with you for another episode. Ryan, I feel like I haven't seen you all week. So it's lovely getting to sit across from you uninterrupted, hopefully.
Oh, isn't it always?
Well, no, I'm just kidding. It is. But how was your week? Do you have any highs or lows you'd like to share?
It was a good week. I know I expected this week to drag because we just came back from vacation. Yeah. You know? So
you got the Disney blues.
Yeah. PDD, post Disney depression.
Okay.
But no, you know, it's surprisingly, like, I feel like I say a lot this week went by fast.
Yeah.
This week though flew by for what I expected to be an extremely long week. Yeah. Given we just came off of vacation. Mm-hmm. You know?
Yeah, that makes sense.
And so I don't know. It flew by. I don't really have any highs and lows this week. I feel like it was pretty even keel, which I was kind of happy with. Like, I'm fine with, like, just a nice coming from off of bumpy. Disney, you know? Yeah. I mean, I guess my low may be that I'm not at Disney.
Well, we can live there, so. I mean, I guess we could live there, close. But no. I would die if we lived in Florida.
A little too hot for you.
Yeah, I would not live very well in Florida.
When there's a lot of, like,
hurricanes,
some crazy
crocodiles,
weather right now.
Yeah, thank you. Actually, I sent you a video. Was it today or yesterday? Today. It was a video from one of the Disney Instagram accounts, and they were showing.
I think it was a Disney food blog, wasn't it?
Yeah, there's literally flooding going on right now in Disney parks because of the hurricanes and stuff.
Yeah, the rain. So.
I'm kind of glad we're not there.
Well, yeah, that would have made for an unfortunate.
Yeah, I feel bad for all those people who are there. And although they do have
the lines are probably real good though.
Well, they have hurricane policies, I guess. I was reading, so hopefully
they'll cancel it if it's too bad. Yeah.
Hopefully they'll get their money back and can reschedule for another time or something.
Yeah,
but that'd be unfortunate.
Yes, that would stink. Mm-hmm. How was your week?
My week was good. My high would be that it is officially fall. And
that is nice.
Yeah. What's exciting is, in years past, I feel like, the first day of fall happens, but it's still like 80 degrees outside. We had that for like the first half of the week, but the second half of the week has actually felt like fall weather. Like I wore a flannel to church today and it was lovely.
Sweaters.
Yes.
Sweatshirts.
My low, unfortunately, is also that it's fall because I get like seasonal allergies just when the seasons change. So like the sore throat. I mean, I don't know what to call it because I'm not congested. Like it's not like my nose is running and my nose is stuffy. But
you don't really get it like I do. Like I get real allergies.
But you can tell.
You just get
if you're listening to my voice is different. Like
a little stuffy, maybe.
But it's not like I have a cold or anything. Well, but it does get to the point where sometimes I'm sneezing like all the time and I can't stop. And Riley's gotten a little allergy issue. She's sneezing. Yeah. Ace has
Ace, he's always had.
Yes, he's been diagnosed with chronic itchy skin. There's some word for it. I can't remember, but essentially that's what it is. We have to give him like steroids for it when the seasons change, and we need to go pick that up because he has licked himself raw in a couple spots. So, we should actually change the title of this podcast to like Diary of Our Dogs because I feel like we just talk about their challenging lives. But we love them anyway.
They're a part of our lives, so.
And they make it so fun.
They do.
But anyway, so high is it's fall, low is it's fall. No, it's just the allergies that come along with the season. So, all right, moving on to our next segment, book club.
Yeah.
Have you made any progress?
I did read a little bit yesterday, which was nice. I feel like it may have, I'm hoping that like kickstarted me back into the swing of things.
Yeah.
Because it was, a nice like 60-ish something, mid 60s, whatever, sweater, or sweatshirt. Sat out on the porch. It was really nice. And read, and so I'm hoping to be able to do that some more. I didn't get a chance today.
No.
But
you could have.
I could have. I had time. I just chose to do other things. But
I'm just kidding.
But yeah, I'm hoping that like it was nice to get. It was like a I don't know, breath of fresh air.
Yeah. Yesterday was a good day. Like I felt like it was the first time we really Sabbathed in a while.
Yeah.
Although you had to work in the morning.
I did work,
so
but that it wasn't too bad. That went by pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So for me, I was able to come home and
we just were really lazy, which is nice.
Yeah. Well, I cleaned our.
You did. You rearranged our room.
Our room where we like record and do other things.
I think for me though, that feels like it was restful because I didn't do it.
Because you saw things get organized.
I saw things getting organized, and I was like, yes, there's order is being brought to the chaos.
When we moved the giant chair out of this room, which makes it feel really open right now.
Yeah, unfortunately, we've got no takers. I just posted it up on Facebook Marketplace, like, who wants to come pick this up from our curb? It's free.
Yeah.
No one.
Yeah.
So I don't know what we're going to do with it. It is. I mean, it's seen better days.
Yeah, it's still comfy.
I had it in my college dorm.
Yeah.
And it's not gross. It's just like not cute.
There's some worn spots a little bit, and it's kind of sunken in a little, but it's still super cozy.
College students, they could use it, So if you're listening and you know a college student who might need it,
I will be honest though, I'm surprised you had this in your dorm room because it's pretty big for a dorm room.
I don't remember how we got it up there. I mean, there was an elevator in the building.
Oh yeah, but it's just the size of your rooms are so small.
My dad who helped carry it in.
Well, they had dollies, didn't they? Or something? Didn't they have something?
I mean, probably, but still, anyway, it doesn't matter. So we moved that chair out. We've been wanting to do that forever. This room feels so much bigger.
Yeah.
It's so nice.
Well, because we had to do something because your clothes were getting out of hand.
Okay.
For your,
you
not
make
your
it
clothes,
sound like my personal closet is overflowing into another room.
It's for
yes, my
thrift business.
Yeah. Which is going it's really going well. And it's fun.
Is.
I've been doing it.
Anyways, back to book club.
Yeah. Wait, I didn't get to share about my day yesterday.
Yeah, you did?
No. You got to share about reading on the deck. I made cookies, which was lovely. And I took a nap.
Yeah.
I just wanted the world to know that. It was awesome. And we had Chick-fil-A for dinner. So that's like the cherry on top of the sundae.
Now back to book club.
Okay, sorry.
But I'm done with my part of that, so you can share your...
Okay. Well, I'm still reading Becoming Better Grown-Ups, and I was told by someone, it's my brother, someone who has...
Also, can I just cut in for a second? If you hear some weird noise, it's our dog chewing a bone.
Yeah.
So he's being rather loud.
I don't think you would be able to hear it.
I don't know. I just wanted to make sure...
It's better than him licking himself. So, yeah. We'll allow it.
Yeah.
Anyway, so my brother told me last week that the author's name is Broad. Nope, it's not.
That's not. BROAD.
I started combining the names. Brad Montague.
Yeah.
He has met
That's
him
how
in person.
I thought it was, but I wasn't 100%
sure.
That's how I always pronounced it in my head.
Yeah. So he is for sure Brad Montague. Anyway, I continued reading it this week, and we're actually going to jump into one of the chapters because I really liked it, and it was encouraging to me, and we just wanted to share kind of like a summary of it, but also like what thoughts and ideas it sparked for us, and then hopefully it'll be encouraging to you guys. So the title of the chapter is called Here Come the Joy Rebels, which I like that. I like that. I think it's fun. It makes me think of Star Wars, the rebellion. I'm acting like I know what I'm talking about, but my knowledge is very minimal when it comes to
that's
Star
about
Wars.
it. You just
that's it. I know there's a Chewbacca. He's not
there's
a Wookiee.
a Chewbacca.
Is he a Wookiee?
Yes, he is.
Okay, he's a Wookiee.
But it's also his name, not his race.
What's the little animals?
The Ewoks?
Ewoks, that's what
the furry ones.
Yeah.
Not the Jawas that are like wrapped in cloaks and short.
No, I was talking about Ewoks. They're cute
glowing
too.
Eyes.
The Ewoks. Ugh, no. there's Han Solo.
Yep.
And he is with Princess Leia.
Yeah.
And Princess Leia is actually Luke's sister.
Mm-hmm.
Their father is Darth Vader.
Well, spoilers. Gee whiz.
Who is Anakin Skywalker.
Oh, my gosh.
So I do know some stuff.
You just spoiled so much of Star Wars.
If people don't know that about Star Wars, they're not going to find out because they don't care.
Well, they just did find out.
Well, anyway. Here come the Joy Rebels. So if you haven't listened to last week's episode, I share that the premise of this book is the author goes on a listening tour to different classrooms around the United States. And basically he's like interviewing kids, asking them like what they think about adults. And he's kind of just discovering that like as adults, there's a lot that we can learn from children, and getting back to like, rediscovering like what really matters in life, sort of having more of like a childlike attitude and spirit. So he opens up the chapter by talking about how, those commercials that you see that are like asking for help, like animals are in need, or they're asking for money to donate to those who are less fortunate, that kind of thing. He just shared that when he was little, any commercial that he saw that was like that, he immediately would go to his parents and say, we need to help these people. And he like never understood why his parents didn't just like empty their bank accounts and give away all their money. And he was just reflecting on how like children have this inherent optimistic spirit about them, and they just want to make the world a better place. And they also have a sense of endless possibilities. So for him as a child, seeing these commercials, he's going to his parents and he's thinking, you should just be able to like give these people all of our money because they need help. They need it more than we do. Not really understanding like, well, we also have a mortgage and we have to feed you and all those things. But he shares that, and then he continues on by saying like when him and his wife got married, they had decided that as a couple they didn't want to grow up to be like old and bitter. They didn't want to be like the type of people that like become cynical and they're yelling at people to get off their yard. They wanted to be the type of people who are warm and inviting and welcoming people into their yard and just having like a joyfulness about them. And he said they gave it the name of being joyful or being marked by joyful rebellion. But like over time, life and circumstances kind of dampened their spirits, and they were, real life gets in the way. They have bills to pay, mortgages, death, real world tragedies, and you just kind of lose like that joy, or you start to get overwhelmed by it and you maybe turn cynical, or start to think like, well, the dreams that I had or the ways that I wanted to act or treat people or whatever, it's not really realistic. Like this is just kind of the state of the world, unfortunately, or there's not much I can do to make much of a difference or whatever. But he shared like how through his listening tour, there would be these moments where real life, like hard things would start to creep in. And in those moments, he noticed that there was people in the situation who were taking those problems and turning them into joyful opportunities. Like I think one example that he gave was a classroom hamster died, and the teacher just like allowed the day to be devoted to like celebrating the life of this hamster, which might seem kind of silly, but for these kids, like it was a big deal. Like this was their class pet, and like welcoming questions about death, and also trying to figure out ways to celebrate the hamster's life. So like the kids came up with ideas of like drawing pictures of the hamster or singing a song for the hamster, just things like that. And he was just reflecting on how like that thing, which was really hard, this teacher opened up the space and gave these kids the room to like to learn real life things. Like death isn't just like this really sad thing. It can also be like an opportunity to celebrate life. So he continues to share like a couple of different stories throughout the book of different children that he has come come into contact with, and he started calling them rebels of joy. And he said, like, I have a document on my computer, like a folder, and I like to keep those stories in there so that it's like a reminder for me when life gets really hard. And I don't know, reading the chapter really sparked something inside of me to kind of like look beyond myself and normal everyday life and circumstances to see like how I can be a quote unquote rebel of joy, because I would consider myself a very joyful person, you know, like if you come in contact with me on any given day, most likely you're going to receive like a kind, warm, inviting presence, I would hope, you know. But I think this is going beyond just like, oh, I'm a kind person and I like to treat people well. I think it is like being intentional about finding ways that we can make the world a better place. And I don't often think I don't know, like think about that stuff. I'm, you know, very consumed with our home, our family, our church life, our friendships, like those kind of things. And I don't often think outside of that, and or even pray and ask the Lord, like, how can I be an agent of joy, an agent of change in like the community around me, or like see a need, and instead of just being like, wow, that really sucks, being like, okay, what can I do to bring joy to this situation? So yeah, I don't know. I know you read this chapter.
I reread it.
I reread it so that like you had a bit of a fresh perspective, but I didn't know if anything in particular stood out to you, or what like being a rebel of joy kind of means in your or from your perspective.
I mean, I think really what he was describing was literally
being like Jesus.
Well, like, yeah, I mean, like bringing the kingdom, you know, wherever we go. And it's like the kingdom of God entering into this broken world. Yeah. And it's a bit of that, you know, it's coming here but not yet kind of thing. And it's like when there's pain, when there's suffering, to try to bring a bit of the kingdom, a bit of that like relief, peace, joy, whatever it is, and like making wrong things right. And you know, like
in the passage of in Isaiah 61.
Yeah.
I'm going to pull it up
setting
really
captives
quick.
Free. And
yeah, it says, the Spirit of the Sovereign Lord is upon me, for the Lord has anointed me to bring good news to the poor. He has sent me to comfort the brokenhearted and to proclaim that captives will be released and prisoners will be freed. He has sent me to tell those who mourn that the time of the Lord's favor has come, and with it the day of God's anger against their enemies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And because I think too, it's not like he wasn't describing like being a joy rebel as someone who only focuses on happy, good things and like ignoring pain and suffering and sorrow and sadness.
Yeah.
But he was like, it's not that at all. I think if you look at it from a very shallow perspective, that's how you could see it is, oh, you're just being a crazy optimist who doesn't want to actually
or it's like
deal with reality,
like toxic positivity,
something like that.
Deny the fact that anything bad is happening and only focus on good, and you know, that but doesn't always work well.
It's not that at all. What he's describing is literally entering into those situations, that like that pain, that hurt, that sadness, whatever it is, and being some kind of element, you know, something different. It's shining a light in the darkness.
Yeah.
It's, you know, bringing the kingdom of God. It's that where, you know, somebody's having a bad day and you bring them a cookie. You know what I mean? Like something, it's like simple. But that's the other thing too, where like we act like we have to change the world, and then we don't do any. We end up not doing anything sometimes
because
as Christians because we're so focused on the whole like we have to do something big because that's what we see, because that's what gets promoted on social media, and that's what like people talk about in churches, are these crazy big things. But really what's going to change the world is, and what he's implying is, all of these small acts, not even small acts sometimes, but like these these just acts of kindness that we do, and this like being carriers of joy and spreading it and bringing it wherever we go in those places that we're in even in any little way possible, and not overthinking it.
Yeah. Like, can I read a quote?
Yeah.
When you were reading, or you're saying that, made me think of this. He talks about how, he talks about how, like, hearing all these stories, it gave him this idea that he wishes he had like a little button that he could push, like an Avengers style situation where you just assemble everyone together, but it's like calling all the Joy Rebels together. And I like that he says, thankfully, though, they're not all in one place. They are each in their individual towns and classrooms, simply shining where they're at in the universe, just like how stars operate, simply shining as they're made to, right where they are. For now, all I have is that little folder on my desktop. That Joy Rebels folder represents a whole lot of people living out a whole lot of love. It's reassuring to remember when things get especially difficult that millions of others are out there doing their part right where they are. And so, like you're saying, like, it's not like we have to do all the things.
Right.
We just have to do what we're called to do where we are.
Right.
But you actually have to take that step out and do it, you know?
Mm-hmm. And I think that's where he's like, he talks about us getting caught up in overthinking things. And that's the beauty of the simplicity of the children and the kids that he's seeing is like I think he talks about one girl started collecting glasses to give to an optometrist who was going
to another
overseas.
country.
Yeah. And who to give, glasses to people who need them. And like, she didn't get caught up in like, well, what are the logistics of this? And granted, like, I'm not saying that stuff's not important,
right?
But like, she did the thing and then is going to figure out, okay, now, like, what are the logistics of this?
Right.
Like, how do we get this to the optometrist? How do we do what we need to,
Are these prescriptions going to work for the people over there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, and that's his job.
Right.
Like, he's the guy going over there, so he gets
He'll
to worry
figure
like
that out.
and
Yeah.
I think that's what he's like, a big point is that sometimes we get inside of our own heads and caught up too much and make things more difficult than they need to be. You don't have to have all the answers. All you need is one.
Yeah.
To help that one person,
I know I really struggle with that too, because I was thinking like, well, what are something like reasons why I don't necessarily think of how I can be like this person who brings joy to like really tough situations. Sometimes it's that. Sometimes it's also fear of like, how am I going to be received, or like, what if I mess up, or what if I do the wrong thing, or there's just all these what ifs that like I tend to like just kind of stop me in my tracks from even moving forward. And again, like you said, he talks about this childlikeness that we need to have, because kids don't think that, like, they just don't think that way,
because they're not that self-conscious.
No, they just do it.
And
they don't think about all the what ifs. And again, sometimes it's important to do that.
Sure.
But that
there is a need for a maturity, but not it. That's where I think he makes a differentiation between childlikeness and childishness.
Yeah, he does.
He says we want to be childlike, not childish.
Right.
Because childish, you can do childlike things, but in the wrong ways. Yeah,
but I think the willingness of children and their just innate like goodness, and I mean honestly creativity too. Like sometimes kids just are very creative, and
because they don't have
like limits.
Limited by quote unquote impossible things.
Yeah. I think that those qualities that he talks about in this book, I definitely don't have. Like I'm very afraid of like what people will think, or what if I mess up, and those kind of things just always kind of stop me in my tracks. But that'll hold you back.
Yeah. There was another quote too that I really liked, that he's talking about, it's kind of actually goes along with, he says, it's joyfully rebelling against childishness to embrace childlikeness. But then this is the quote it's trading selfishness for generosity, entitlement for compassion, fear for fascination, and anger for amazement. And I think it's interesting because, right before that he says it's joyfully rebelling against childishness to embrace childlikeness. And then he goes on to list all of these qualities that we see in a lot of adults in the world. And like what, whether it be about whatever, just problems in the world. It's like we see so much, even in the church, of adults, grown-ups, acting entitled out of fear, out of anger, and selfishness, all of these things, like they're only, looking out for their own needs, not necessarily for the needs of everyone. And, I just think it's like, that's that list of things. I'll read it again. Trading selfishness for generosity, entitlement for compassion, fear for fascination, and anger for amazement. It's like that. Those are the qualities I want to be known for. Generous, compassionate, what would I say? Fascination. Because I'm not fascinating, but I want to see, like, I want to be fascinated by things. And then I want to be amazed by things, not angry. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's not like, I don't know, I think those things are just such good qualities, and I want that, and I want to work on those things. And there's such good comparisons to like trading fear for fascination, because so oftentimes we're just afraid of something because we're being too selfish almost, or focus on ourselves to actually learn a little bit about the thing we're afraid of, or the whatever, I don't know. It's just a good list of things, and I really liked it.
Good job, Brad.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that was all. I don't know if I had any other little tidbits specifically, but
yeah, I just like this reminder that not to get so caught up in the hardship of life or overwhelmed by the hardship of it that it turns us into cynical people who are not living out like the abilities that we have. And, thinking back to when we were kids, like when I was a kid, I feel like I did have a lot of that same willingness that he talks about in the beginning of his chapter. Like, we should just be able to give everything away. We should just be able to help every single person. Like, why can't we do that? Because kids just have this innate goodness in them. And, it's easy as adults to think, well, it's also because kids just don't understand like the reality of it.
Yeah.
It's like, well, maybe if we understood the potential, like our real potential that we have, then like, our world wouldn't be such a crappy place. Like if we stopped focusing on the hardships and started thinking like, okay, maybe this could be possible. Like, this change could be possible or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think there's something powerful that can be done when you combine that childlikeness with that understanding of what it actually takes to do like the problem isn't that we have understanding, it's that we let go of the childlikeness.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Because if anything, having the understanding with the childlikeness should actually
create change.
Even more of a ability to change.
Yeah. So that's all I have.
Yeah.
It's a short episode. That's okay.
It was.
It makes up for our over an hour long episode.
We can give everyone a lot of time to go buy this book.
Yeah, chew on those thoughts. Go check out this book.
Yeah, it's really good.
But we do want to leave you guys with a quote of the week. And it is from this chapter.
Yep.
And it says, there's the way things are, there's the way things could be, there's also a you, and there's also a me.
It's almost a little Dr. Seussy there. I didn't realize that until you read it. It
rhymes, yeah. So just again, encouraging us that like, even though things are the way they are, doesn't mean that that's always how they have to be. And we have the ability to be rebels of joy and to make a difference in the world around us. So be encouraged with that. And we'll see you next week.
Bye.